All right, so I'm live still. I'm still fuzzy. Let me jump back over to you, though. Let's see here. Do that. All right, Pax, we see you on the screen.
Cool.
And, all right, thanks, everybody, for your patience on this one. My computer is not enjoying Skype today whatsoever, so I'm going to turn myself off. So now we're just looking at you, Pax.
Oh, okay. Good times. Good times.
Let me, all right, comment section's up. Let me see. All right, yeah, it definitely started a whole new stream.
Okay.
All right, we're just going to roll with it. So you were saying, and again, everybody, thanks for sticking around if you're still here. You were saying that there was even a tragedy at school because of homework, and that was the kind of one of the things that like even reassured you to go down this route.
Yeah, I think so when this happened, it affected the entire community greatly, of course, and we had, assemblies at our school. We talked about it. We even got into small groups and talked about it. Parents were freaking out because what happens is, and I think not too many people know this, but what happens is, what's that Netflix TV show?
13 Reasons Why.
Yeah. So what happens is when people kind of watch those things, and if they're already in a bad place, it sets kind of like a chain link or somewhat it kind of goes through the community pretty fast, and you start to realize like, oh my gosh, we need to talk with our students about this. We need to talk with our parents about this, make sure everybody's on high alert, basically, because who knows what other students are struggling as much as this kid who, by the way, showed no signs, and then took his life. And that's the scariest part. So for me, I then started to realize, man, I'm super passionate, not about the topic of homework, but about the people. I'm passionate about people and caring for people. And that's probably why I became an educator. And so then I started to think, well, what is one of the major concerns that people have? What are the major concerns that parents have? What are the major concerns that educators have? And I was like, oh, well, duh. Homework is one massive topic that, unfortunately, I don't think gets talked about enough. So I started to make a master thesis about that, and hopefully in the future do some more, research and, see what I can do,
Yeah, no, that's powerful stuff. And that's something that really does get missed is kids, the pressure that kids have. It's almost like once you're not a lost boy anymore, like, this getting nerdy for a second, like in Hook, Peter Pan leaves and he forgets that he was a lost boy. He forgets what it was like to be a lost boy on this. And we got to take away some recess. Let's take away lunchtime. Let's make lunchtime 9:30 in the morning, and then that'll give us more time throughout the day for them to sit down, not move for 7 hours and just absorb information. And it's like, if you just for a second remembered what it was like to be a kid in that classroom, maybe they wouldn't do these kinds of things.
Yeah. Constantly working, get the rest you need, go on vacations, on the weekend, whatever. If we're trying to do that as a system work, and you need to do it every night.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, because you have to get ready for a test. And that test informs my data. And then that's how I can help you engage, where you're at. So I think it just needs a recourse. It needs to be looked at differently. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's wild. That's wild stuff.
I try to bring in the 13 things that, that show.
Yeah. 13 Reasons
just
Why.
Because, I speak movie,
Yeah.
So.
No, and it's funny in come up with something to relate to the next person, especially like in that sale, that you're like, oh, that's something that they know, that they understand, that they deal with. So even you coming up with that, I'm pretty sure people listening could relate to. And of course, welcome to the Amelia, which is the hashtag we use there. I'm sure people listening could relate to. And of course, welcome to the Amelia, which is the hashtag
cool.
we use there.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, everybody, if you jumped in to the second stream, welcome. The first one crashed on my computer. My computer's hating me today, but that's all right. We're gonna get through the show.
Good.
And now I have another thing to try to get is a better computer now. So when you're not doing your studying with PAX, is there like a show that you're currently into? Are there movies that you're currently watching? Like, what are you doing to kind of get away from all that, to almost in a way not give yourself homework every day?
Right. There has to be a decompression day, like a full day, like, and it's just where you're not thinking about homework. You're not thinking about anything else. Like, you have to take at least one day out of the week to just, relax.
Yeah.
And for me, it's about movies. Like, I love watching movies. I'm a huge Abbott and Costello fan. If it were up to me, I think eventually one day I could even write a documentary on them because of the amount of information I know about Abbott and Costello. But nowadays I'm really excited about like the Justice League, the Snyder Cut. Like, when I saw that on DC Fandom, I was like, it was just beautiful.
Yeah.
And but there's one. Well, speaking of Justice League, there is one particular topic from Justice League that I'm really excited about. So I don't know if you've heard of this show, or I think it's a show that's going to come out on Netflix. It's called Enola Holmes.
So that was actually something I wanted to show on the stream today, but I think my computer would not like it very much.
Yeah, I think at this point it would be bad. But Enola Holmes, like, it's with the girl. Her name's 11 from Stranger Things.
Yeah.
So Millie Bobby Brown, I believe that's her name. So like, she's in it. She's like the main character, but the person who's supporting, well, there's actually really good actors who are supporting in this show, but the one who's supporting it is Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, you should have just started there.
Should have let off with it.
I'm sold. I mean, look, I got, well, you can't see it now, but I'm a Superman fan for sure.
Yeah.
So it's just, one of those things where I am definitely looking forward to that, but I'm kind of geeking out because Adam trailer and, or not trailer, but
teaser,
kind of The Rock being introduced like officially. And we saw the Batman, which, man, I saw like fan reactions of that. And it's just fun to see that, all the fans reacting to it. And just the moment that Batman goes ballistic.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just, and then he says the key word there is vengeance. I was like, I lost it.
And that was that moment. That was that you're like, all right, we're doing this. Yeah.
Like, Twilight, what? I don't even remember Twilight anymore. Like, what are you talking about?
No. And that's the thing where it's, I made a point in kind of like my reaction to it where, we all doubted Heath Ledger. We all doubted Gal Gadot.
That's right.
We all doubted, and I say we all, like
I remember watching that video. That was a good video too.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, we've already been through that where it's like, no, they're gonna be terrible. There's no way. So it's like, we might as well. We have at this point, might as well just give the man a shot.
Yeah, exactly. And that's actually where I started with as well, because the moment Heath Ledger came out as the Joker and did a stellar performance, in my opinion, it's like one of the best. I think he did amazing. So the moment I saw him as the Joker, I was like, okay, I'm never going to discredit or discount whenever, they bring on a new superhero. Like Gal Gadot, like for her, when she became Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
I wasn't nervous for a lot of the reasons that I think some fans were. Like, she didn't look the part or whatever. Like, she looks, pretty tall, I guess, but she didn't really look the part. She didn't, people weren't connecting with that. But my concern was, well, she doesn't have a lot of acting ability that we know of.
Yeah.
She's not a leading lady. Like, we don't know that yet. But once, again, the moment that Heath Ledger broke out as Joker, I was like, okay, I'm not going to discredit her. I'm actually going to come into the movie theater, hang, whatever I need to on the coat rack, and then just watch it and enjoy, and just, not critique it or anything like that. And the moment I saw Pattinson as the Batman, I was like, okay, all right, well, let's see what happens. And then he did the vengeance thing, and I was like, okay, I'm sold. Twilight, what?
Yeah, and that was the music on a movie, like on a trailer, like that makes all the difference, and
Yes.
what they chose there, and as I was going, I was like, this is that dark brooding movie that we needed.
Yeah.
It's exactly what we need.
Mm-hmm.
So you brought up a point there that I have to come back to.
Yeah.
Is Henry Cavill your favorite Superman?
Oh yeah. I don't want to say by far he is, because he is. It's hard to say that he's the best Superman, because we got Christopher Reeve. He really, in my opinion, started it all. Like there's actually like footage of like the old Superman, which I think his name was Christopher something. I forget his last name, but the
Christopher Reeve.
Well, I think Christopher Reeve.
Oh, you mean before that?
Before that, like in the 40s, because there was a TV show in black and white.
Yeah.
So like there's, and then we have Brandon Roth, who was Superman as well, which he, in my opinion, he actually didn't do that bad. It's just that the movie didn't come together the way that I was hoping. But I would say Henry Cavill for sure is my favorite for Superman.
Yeah. The Brendan Routh. I can't think of that guy's name. That first one. It'll probably come to me. But yeah, the Brendan Routh was not terrible for what that movie was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And it was that prime example of you're just doing what they told you to do in that movie. Like you're not acting terribly. You're essentially not doing anything wrong. It's just a really bad movie.
It's not there.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, the secret sauce,
Yeah.
It's just not there, and it's, what? I even saw an interview with Brandon Roth when he was talking with Michael Rosenbaum
Yep.
On his podcast, kind of saying like, what? It just, for whatever reason, it just didn't come together the way he had hoped. Like he was all stoked about being Superman. He loves the iconic character. He thought it was just awesome to play that role, but in the end result, how the movie came together, it just didn't deliver the way that he had hoped, that a lot of people had hoped, to be honest. Not to say that it's a bad movie, because I think in some shape, way, or form, I think people still enjoy that movie, but it didn't work out the way that he had hoped,
Yeah. And Rhino Dog with the save, it was George Reeves. It wasn't the Christopher that was the same. It was the last name that was the same.
That's what it is. George Reeves. Thank you. That's perfect.
So it's one of those where I think that the part that pissed me off the most with that movie, above anything else, that I was like, all right, I can't come back from this, is the mountain of kryptonite. Like when they had him lift up that mountain of kryptonite, I was like, you know what? I was like, I was
like, check, please.
Yeah. I was like, I think we're all set here.
Yeah.
It was wild.
Yeah. That's when I think I checked out.
Yeah. And you almost, you had to. It was like we had such a good thing going, and then I was willing to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
And you screwed it up. So are you leaning more towards excitement on the Batman or Justice League? Which one are you leaning again?
Ooh, between the two?
Yeah, like which one has you more excited?
Oh man. I'm sorry, but I just gotta say it. Justice League, the Snyder
Yeah.
cut, because we're getting more, like a lot more footage
Yeah.
that I think has his touch on it, and the fact that he's able to come back. And look, I will say this: it might not be the most popular thing that, people might not agree with me, and that's okay. But I think Snyder is a visionary when it comes to the cinematic look. Like he knows how to make something look beautiful on film.
Yeah.
I just don't know if he's very good with the story at all times. Like there's some movies that he's done where I'm like, okay, that was a good movie. Other movies I'm like, the story's not quite there. But his cinematography, just in my opinion, is one of the best I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, and that's the part I think we keep giving him the pass on.
Yeah.
Is the visuals are so good. And by the way, everybody in the comments, let me know if the stream has improved. I made a bunch of changes while Pax was talking.
And I can see you too.
Yeah, I was able to get the other camera back on. I plugged the
Nice.
internet back in. Let's see how it makes it. So we give him passes, I think, because of how well he does visually. And like a movie like 300, you're willing to let
Yes.
things slide because you're like, I'm only in this movie for visuals.
Yeah.
Like that's why we're here.
Right.
And then I don't remember what stream we were talking about, Sucker Punch, and it's the trailer for Sucker Punch was dope, and you're excited for it, and then the movie happens, and you're like,
what
is
wow,
this
what
even
a
about?
beautiful letdown.
Yeah, oh yeah,
And again, nothing against Zack Snyder, because I think, like I mentioned, he's a visionary, but it didn't deliver, and I think a lot has to do with the storytelling.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, because maybe it's a George Lucas scenario where you can have the person have their input, but then you've got to make the executive decision to ignore that creator's input.
You're like, hey, that's a great idea, but no.
Yeah. Popular ones to me will always be George Lucas, because Empire Strikes Back, arguably the best of the trilogy, was not him.
Right.
And then Rocky, actually, Stallone killed off Rocky at the end of part 1, and the studio, when he was making the movie, said, we think we might be onto something here. He ain't dying at the end of this movie.
Yeah.
And they made him change it.
And that, thank God.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, dude, Rocky 4, that's like my favorite. We wouldn't have Rocky 4. So.
The movie where zero boxing training led to the greatest boxing match, where they're like, what's a great thing to block with? Your face.
You know what? And I actually heard, I don't know, I could be making this up, but I actually heard that when Rocky Balboa was filming the first movie, that when he was doing all the punching, he was doing his own sound effects. So he was like, doing all that stuff. And I thought to I could be making this up, but I'm pretty sure I heard it also from somewhere, and I think it's the most funniest thing in the world.
I don't doubt it. I truly do not doubt it, because he was just, back then, to even get a studio to sign off on this thing, to let you do it. And I imagine the conversation happened where they're like, who are you again? And I'm Sylvester Stallone. They're like, what? Like the cat? Like,
yeah, still.
But you got to be that level of almost like in it to get to that platform and to prove to them like, hey, I got something here. Yeah. But I'm only giving it to you if I could be in it. Because that was also the stipulation. He's like, I'll give you the story, but I'm going to be in it.
Oh, well, why not?
Yeah.
I'd probably stipulate the same thing. I'd be like, look, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna be in the movie and whatnot. So I gotta get it. So
I was gonna say, sticking on the Sylvester Stallone, and I don't know, do you have extra time? We can go an extra.
Yeah.
Comment. All right, cool.
I got plenty of time today.
Awesome. And again, all of you who are watching now, thank you very much for your patience. I learned that my computer cannot handle two cameras going live at the same time. It was just not happening.
Yeah.
But so let's stick on Sylvester Stallone for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite Rambo movie?
Oh, okay. You're gonna kill me.
Oh god. Oh boy.
Okay, you're gonna kill me. I haven't seen any of the Rambo. Like, oh, see, I can already feel it on the internet. The internet just passed out.
Rubbish, filth, slime, muck, boo, boo, boo.
But on the left hand, I've actually seen that movie.
There you go. I was hoping you at least knew that one.
Yeah, no, I mean, well, that's one of the best movies I think of all time.
Yeah.
One of the best.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rambo, like I just know references to it because I guess part of my growing up and being, you know, the cinematic kid I guess I am. It was all through like early comedy, like slapstick comedy.
Yeah.
I wasn't really allowed as a kid to watch certain movies because my mom was like, hey, like you don't need that in your life type of thing.
Yeah.
And then as I got older, I was like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing in the world. And then I would watch a different film. I'm like, this is another great film. So, yeah, I haven't seen any of the Rambos. I apologize. I will, however, see it as part of my homework.
I see what you did there.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I see what you did there. What I will say is kind of like Rocky, right? Like, because he, you know, I think after Rocky 2, I want to say, is when Rambo came out. Anybody in the comments, if you want to go on Google and search for it, please let me know. If I do it now, my computer might explode. But Rambo came out, I think, after Rocky 2 or around that same period of time. As the movies go on, he goes less on the acting side, more into the spectacle and the steroid side of things.
Yeah.
So Rambo Part 1, to me, is if you want to see Sylvester Stallone actually be a good actor, the last like 5 minutes of that movie are like, it's just amazing because he goes into this rant. And I think actually for Rambo, I believe he also wanted to kill Rambo off in that movie. I think Rambo and Rocky, if I remember correctly, were both supposed to be one-offs.
He really has a death wish for these characters.
Yeah. He's very dramatic. It's very dramatic. And I believe that was the goal. They were like, no, make him live or whatever. But regardless of it, he goes on this rant at the end of the movie about being a Vietnam vet. Because, you know, that's the movie, I think, was made in the 80s, but like takes place in the 70s. I could be off by a couple of years there. But it's post, you know, Nam. And I'm not going to say the whole thing, but he's essentially like, I've gone off. I was a hero. I was able to do like all these things. The government's like, we're putting you in charge to be like a colonel and do all these whatever. And you come back and he's like, I can't even get a job at the gas station. Like, and you're like, wow, like all those explosions aside, he's right. Like this is actually a really good point. So if of all the Rambos, at least just watch the first one.
So watch the first one for sure, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because all the acting goes out the window once we start making our way down.
I could be making this up.
Go for
but
it.
Does he come out of the water in one of the scenes?
Yes. The one that made fun of that was Hot Shots.
That's right. Okay. Because Hot Shots I did see, but although I haven't seen it for a long time, but I remember Hot Shots.
Yeah. He has it's Rambo 2. He comes out of the water with his bow and arrow.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Great movie.
Now I see it.
Yeah. And that one, it's still pretty decent. Like that one, he goes back to Nam.
Yeah.
See, now I'm going to go down this Rambo rabbit hole here. I was talking actually.
Do it.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody the other day about it, and in the comments, actually, everybody let me know favorite Rambo, favorite Rocky. You definitely need to throw that out there. Oh, by the way, Lenny's in the house. Good to see you. I didn't even see all these chats coming in. I'm sorry, buddy.
It's okay. We were in deep conversation.
We were. Lenny says the most recent Rambo is awesome. Rhino Dog's going with the original and Rambo 3. The original being Rocky, I'm guessing. Sly doing Grown Up Home Alone is great. Where is that from? Is that Robot Chicken? I kind of remember that. Lenny says Rambo 2 came out in 85. All right, yeah. But when did Rambo 1 come out? Was that like 81? And where is that in relation to Rocky? Let me know. Rhino Dog is Rocky 3 and First Blood. Yeah. Oh, Rocky 3 is my favorite of the Rockies.
Yeah. Well, that actually is a really good one.
Yeah.
I forgot about that one.
And it's also because he has that thing about when she's like, "What is it? Like, what's going on?" He's like, "I'm afraid. Like, I could lose this, lose all blah blah." She's like, "No, like you have me, the kids." Like, I was like, "That's good. That's the heart."
There was a bit of acting in that one, you know.
But with Rambo, and what's wild in part 3 is, and everybody, if you get a chance, go back and watch it. In part 3, it's when we were in the period of time that Afghanistan was being invaded by the Russians. And he actually goes to Afghanistan to help the Taliban beat the Russians. It's wild to watch it. Like, after the fact, you're like, whoa.
This is Rambo 3, right?
Rambo 3.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It is, I mean, that movie's just explosions for no reason, like sands blowing up and stuff. But,
you know what? It might have to be a movie marathon.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. Like, sometimes I have to watch, if I know that there's multiple movies, no matter how good or bad it is, if I already start with the first one, I have to see it all the way through.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where I have to. Like, I don't know. So I'm going to watch Rambo, and I'm going to go down that rabbit hole for sure.
Rambo, now mentally I'm down that rabbit hole. Rambo 4, I mean, he just murders as many people as he can. All right, Lenny coming through. Rambo came out in 82. Rocky was 76. And when was Rocky 2, Lenny, if you could pull that one up? Rocky 2 came out in 79. All right, yeah. So Rocky 2 came out around the same time as Rambo. Or just after. He probably was filming them around the same time.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, I think I'm going to spend some time over the weekend. And
checking
then
those out.
I'll hit you up in the comments when you do next week.
Yeah.
I'll be like, by the way, Rambo was amazing. Or I'd be like,
you're going to be me.
You were a little off.
You're going to be me with Ready Player One, where Pat Flynn got pissed off that I didn't like it.
Oh my gosh. When I saw that, I died laughing. I died laughing because I was like, I've never seen Pat Flynn like freak out like that.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, okay, this is a big deal. And I remember in your intro video, you're like, and this is what happened.
Yeah. You know what it was? I think at that point, because everybody said I had to see it, I think it had overhyped it. That may have been what happened.
Yeah. That's another thing, is that when people like overhype something, like I stay away from it for a very long time so that I don't remember about the hype. And then I go watch it later, because I just don't like it when people hype it up. Like if I'm watching the Batman with everybody else, and we're like, oh, this is going to be great. That I feel like that's different. But when you hear it from someone saying, dude, it's going to be the best movie of your life, like, you got to trust me on this. And then you see it and you're like, oh, that was terrible. But I don't want to hurt my friend's feelings either. Well, maybe I do.
Maybe you do. Well, again, hey, everybody, before we start wrapping it up, I do want to apologize for all the technical difficulties and all of that. I am, of course, thank you, Pax, for sticking through. As my computer went through it.
Thank you for having me on the live stream. I'm honored.
But like mentioned at the beginning, for those of you who may be new, Pax, you do have your own live stream going on. So what is the next thing coming up? What plans do you have? Maybe what can we expect from your channel kind of going forward?
So on my channel, Monday through Friday, early in the morning at 9:50 in the morning, I do a live stream on Paximus Enterprises, and the live stream is called Meanwhile Studying with Paximus. So if you're kind of curious, go ahead and check that out. But I also will say that in addition to that, I do a live stream on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 4:50 p.m. Pacific Daytime. And then every now and then, without any hesitation, sometimes I'll just kind of say, like, you know what, tonight we're going to do the night edition, and I just kind of do it. So, so check that out on YouTube. It's Paximus Enterprises.
There you go. And if any of you, when you get a chance, head over there, subscribe, hit the bell, because I tell you, as far as me, when I'm editing, like I was editing photos the other day, I edited that GoPro video, which took forever to make, but having that, what is it? The Pomodoro effect or Pomodoro method?
Right. The Pomodoro technique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of just like, all right, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, you're in your work, and then you're just there chilling, TV's on, Pax is playing music, all of a sudden Pax comes on, and you're like, oh, well, we're past 25 minutes, take a break, comment, go to the bathroom, interact in the comment section, and then we're back into it. So it's super helpful.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I thank you for also being a supporter of the channel, and just hopefully you enjoy the music and all that stuff. And I think what brings an element of fun to it is the Forest app, like what your girlfriend mentioned, like when you explained it to her, she was like, oh, okay, I get it.
yeah, that I did not. And by the way, if you have not subscribed yet, we're 2 away from 300. So let's see if in the next 2 minutes or so we can get to 300 subscribers on the channel.
Come on, everybody.
And of course, leave a thumbs up if you're not done so. But, oh man, I lost my chain of thought on that one. Pomodoro effect. The Force app. I did not think that I would, you're like, I'm watching your stream and there's a plant growing and I'm like, okay, like maybe that's part of where the music's coming from or something. And then all of a sudden, when you're explaining it, and for those of you, I'll explain it real quick. You turn on this app, and there's a plant, like a seed. And the longer you stay in the app, the plant starts to grow.
Right.
And what's crazy about it is there's the regular mode, and then there's deep forest mode. When you're on deep forest mode, let's say you set the timer for 20 minutes. You want 20 minutes to do whatever work you're doing. Yeah. If you turn off that app or exit that app, do something else, all of a sudden the plant will start to die.
Yep.
And what happens is you legit have a forest in the app, and little by little, plants start to grow every time you do one of these focus sessions.
Mm-hmm.
So it's wild because I'm there and I'm playing this game with myself. I need to get this forest to grow. How do I get the forest to grow? Okay, sit down and do work for 30 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, okay, but every now and then I kind of glance over and I'm looking at the Forest app and I'm like, okay, as long as we're good. Okay, we're good. We're good. Oh, don't die. And then, it's just one of those things where you're kind of challenging yourself, and it helps keep you on track with focusing on whatever you're doing, Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah, good times. And thank you so much for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. We got to 299, almost 300.
Oh, let's do it. Come on, guys.
If anybody's in the comments who has not subscribed, now's your time. I think, what I'll do for 300 is I was going to do last month a live stream for Constantine because it was the anniversary of it, or a watch party.
Yeah.
So, or maybe, or you know what, Pax, does it just make more sense, since we were talking about this, that for 300, we watch party 300. I mean, we're talking about Zack Snyder.
It does make sense. It makes sense. But I hear what you're saying. Constantine.
Yeah.
You want to go down that route, but I don't know. 300 might say 300.
Yeah. Watch 300 for 300.
Yeah. I mean, why not? Come on, guys. And we're almost there. 300.
Or what if it's I'll just put on the action scenes. Here are just the action scenes of 300, and then we'll go into Constantine.
That could work. I'd be down.
All right. Let's see if we could do it. So yeah, everybody, thanks again for being here. Pax, what is your what's your IG, Twitter? Where can they find you? And what is the URL for your YouTube channel?
So for my YouTube channel, it's youtube.com/C/Paximus Enterprises. And you can just, catch me there. I live stream pretty much Monday through Friday. And For social media, for Facebook, so for Instagram and Facebook, it's Paximus Enterprises, all one word. And for Twitter, it's @thePaximus.
Got it. Awesome.
Cool.
So that would be the time for outro music. Pax, of course, stick around for a bit. We could always chat. But for the rest of you, thank you for being here. Lights were cutting off. Internet cut off. The stream went down. We started a second stream. The GoPro camera was fighting my computer. Wild times. But you know what? We made it. Video's coming out. But Hey Archer Live every Thursday at 8. I'll talk to all you nerds in the next video. Peace.
Vodka, whiskey, beer, tequila, more beer, more vodka, more whiskey, and more beer. What?